September 9th is Wonderful Weirdos Day. Get out and celebrate being different, strange, and awesome. If anyone ever called you weird, this is your day to call them up and invite them to celebrate your unique weirdness. The weirder the celebration, the better. Hello, welcome to my channel, another bibliophile read. My name is Greg, and today is September 9th, Wonderful Weirdos Day. I made an announcement video a few weeks back, and I will link to it in the description of this video, because I want to celebrate weirdness. We all can be just a little bit weird. But how am I weird compared to other people? Maybe my weirdness isn't quite as weird as some other people's weirdness, but I have been called weird. And this video is called My Weird Confession, because I do something that's a little bit weird that I have not been doing for very long. Towards the end of July, I went out to breakfast with a number of my neighbors, and the neighbor I was sitting next to started complaining that there was a toad living under his sidewalk. He was a little bit incensed with this toad. How could this toad invade his sidewalk and his property? I didn't think much about it until a day or two later, my wife mentioned that there was a toad in our yard under the street lamp catching bugs. It was night. He was feasting, and I went out and said, yeah, there's a toad in our yard. And then I remembered a hole in our front yard near the foundation of our sidewalk, or I should not say sidewalk, stairs leading into the house. And I clicked. That hole near the stairs in our house was a toad hole. And the toad under the lamppost in our front yard lived in that hole. And unlike my neighbor, I was not incensed. I said, there's a toad living in my yard. How fantastic. And this is where it gets a little bit weird. Normally, I say, a normal person would say, okay, there's a toad in the yard. He has a toad hole, and then forget about it. But I started going out at night, trying to figure out when that toad was feasting in our yard under the lamppost. And it's become a nightly ritual for me. When it's dark, when I finish a chapter of a book or whatever I'm doing, I go out to look for the toad. I don't know if it's a male toad or a female toad. I'm not an expert in toads. I'm calling him Mr. Toad, or maybe Pierre. He has a nice, polite Christian name. So the Pierre lives in my yard, and I go out to look for him at night. Is that weird? Why am I not like my neighbor, incensed at a toad living in his yard, or my yard? Because the toad doesn't pay rent. He just eats bugs under the lamppost. Maybe eating bugs is good enough. That's the only thing that a toad is really going to be good at, except for maybe making little toads. And I'm not going to get involved in the sex life of Mr. Toad. He can have whatever he wants. He can find his Miss Toad when he wants to. Now, of course, Mr. Toad could be a Miss Toad. As I said, I'm not an expert. And throughout this video, you will be seeing pictures of Mr. Toad. And I'm actually quite happy with a toad in my yard, because I think it represents my place in nature, or me watching nature. I'm a human being, but I share this world with many other species. A lot of these species I will have no interaction with, and my interaction with Mr. Toad is really rather limited. I take pictures of Mr. Toad, but I've never touched Mr. Toad. I've never tried to scare him off or make him jump, although if I catch him close to his toad hole when I'm coming out, he does hop back into the mulch and hides from me. When he's sitting on the sidewalk and I catch him, he's very, very still, as if he thinks, if I'm still enough, this giant creature will not notice me. Well, Mr. Toad, I do notice you. I appreciate you for just being a toad and living in my yard. I don't care if you don't pay rent to me. Catching those bugs under the lamppost may not make a dent in the population of bugs, but I don't care. I share a space with a toad. And maybe that makes me weird because I feel joy going out every night and looking for Mr. Toad. On the nights that I don't see him, I'm really rather a little bit sad because I enjoy seeing a toad. Isn't that kind of weird? And that's how I celebrate my weirdness. Now I am going to end this short video with a short little ChatGPT essay about toads. I got this, as I said, from ChatGPT. ChatGPT is notorious for making some critical or scientific errors, so don't count this as an expert advice on toads. But if you want to learn a little bit more about toads, here is what ChatGPT says. The eastern American toad is one of the most common amphibians in the eastern and central United States. Adults are usually 2 to 4 inches long with brown or reddish bumpy skin. The old myth that toads give people warts comes from that rough texture. But in reality, their skin helps protect them by secreting mild toxins that make them unappealing to predators. Unlike frogs, toads spend most of their life on land. They're remarkably adaptable, turning up in forests, fields, gardens, and even suburban yards. Yeah, my suburban yard. By day, they shelter under rocks or leaf litter, and at night, they hunt. Their diet is mostly insects, beetles, ants, worms, and slugs. And wood toad can consume thousands over a single summer, making them a valuable form of natural pest control. I guess Mr. Toad may be earning his rent by eating those bugs. Their life cycle is tied to water each spring. Males gather at ponds and call with a long trill. Females lay long strings of eggs, and within weeks, tadpoles transform into miniature toads that disperse onto land. Adults can live up to a decade, though many fall victim to predators, cars, or habitat loss. In winter, they avoid freezing by burrowing below the frost line to hibernate. In short, the eastern American toad is both resilient and ecologically useful, a small, unassuming neighbor that quietly shapes the environment around us. Well, Pierre, Mr. Toad, I do appreciate what you do for the environment of my yard, eating those bugs. Yeah, I'm weird. I'm kind of friends with a toad. Well, anyway, I hope you celebrate National Weirdos Day in whatever way that you want to. We're all weird in our own ways, and we can celebrate everybody's type of weirdness. Thank you for watching, and keep on being weird.